For those of you who don't know about Connectable Life is a mind, body, and wellness platform that connects specialists with clients. How it works. A client would go onto Connectable Life, choose a category and subcategory, for example, mind and the subcategory being anxiety, or wellness and the subcategory being life coach. They would watch some of the different specialists' videos, book a consultation with the chosen specialist, pay for the consultation, and then at the allotted time, they would have the consultation with their specialist within a built-in webcam on Connectable Life. No need to use any other medium or platform but Connectable Life. It is so simple and easy, safe and convenient, all in the privacy and safety of your own home, space, or office. All you need is a device and an internet connection. The reason behind Connectable Life is our goal is that we can make healthcare a norm for everyone and accessible to everyone. Our hope is to highlight the value of wellness over illness and that there is strength in reaching out for help. Healthy does not simply mean the absence of disease. Healthy means physical health, happiness, and peace, having a healthy mind as well. To be truly healthy and happy, you need to be intentional about looking after your mind, body, and wellness. We want to help normalize all forms of therapy. Now, for the reason you are here, we are talking about goals, setting them, and achieving them. Are you tired of never following through with those New Year's resolutions? Do you struggle to achieve goals you set out for yourself? Today, you will learn how to turn your dreams and goals into lifestyle changes. So we are going to start with a short activity on how are your goals. This is where you are going to possibly need a piece of paper or your pen to write it down. This is just for yourself. We're not going to be discussing this at all. So please feel free to be extremely honest with yourself, because at the end of the day, that's what today is all about. It's about you. So if you had to think D times G times P times L times A, and what that all means is each one of those we are going to give a score of 10. So so we're going to go through it, and each point you would give yourself a score. So you would say 7 out of 10 or 5 out of 10 or even maybe 2 out of 10, but be honest with yourself. So D stands for dreams. Do you have clear dreams and ambitions in life? What would you say your score for that one is? Let me repeat it. Do you have clear dreams and ambitions in your life? Give yourself a score. G is for goals. Are you aware of your goals in order to achieve your dreams? Do you know the goals that you have? Give yourself a score there. P is for plan. Have you got a plan in which you can achieve your goals? L is for learn. Do you have a learning approach to life? Learning new ways to improve your business, life, and hobbies. Do you achieve to learn new things? What is your score there? And A is for action. Are you taking action of your life? Action of your dreams and goals? Are you physically working to achieve your goals and dreams? Let me just run through them again. The D stands for dreams. The G stands for goals. The P stands for plan. The L stands for learn. And the A stands for action. When you have scored all of those, you will times them all together. And the end score will be your score out of 100,000. It seems crazy, 100,000 out of these simple numbers. But at the end of the day, that encapsulates how your goals and dreams are in your life. So if you are feeling that that's a little bit low and you would like to up it, it's a great way to start working on your goals and dreams. So our first speaker today is Candace. Thank you so much, Candace, for being here. Welcome, and we are so excited to hear what you have to say. Candace is a life coach and EQ practitioner, but she'll tell us more about herself. She is going to be discussing life goals with us. Thanks, Candace.
Thank you very much. I'm really excited to be here today to share what I know about goals and also to hear what the other amazing practitioners have to share today. So I really believe that when we come together and impart knowledge, there's so much learning that can happen. So this is a great platform. Thanks so much for making it happen. As you know, my name is Candace King. I'm a neuroscience-based life coach, an EQ and Enneagram practitioner. And what that all means is I basically base my life coaching on emotional intelligence, and I've recently qualified as an Enneagram practitioner, which is really about personality typing, and this is a great tool for self-awareness. So obviously my part in this conversation today is to talk about goals and life goals. So we spoke about New Year's resolutions earlier, and I wanted to find out who of you have set New Year's resolutions for this year, possibly by a show of hands. Okay. And if you have set New Year's resolutions, how many of you are sticking to those New Year's resolutions? All right. So it's just to get well done for those who are. It's great to get our brain thinking around this. So for me, the most important step in setting goals is that our goals need to be highly motivating. They both need to excite us and stretch us. So there needs to be a little bit of a challenge along the way. It's also important that they don't get lost in the everyday humdrum of life, like a basic New Year's resolution. When you are setting your goals, I'd like you to think about whether you're setting this goal in a reward, a positive mind frame, or a threat, a negative mind frame. Our brains are incredible computers, maybe a little bit too clever for their own good, to be honest, but our brain likes reward and likes a little pat on the back to say, well done, you've done it. And so when you're setting your goals or thinking about your goals, I want you to make sure that you're thinking about that goal in a positive reward mind frame. For me, another important aspect of goal setting is around self-awareness. And this is why I utilize the EQ and Enneagram tools, because they are fantastic tools to create self-awareness. It is about connecting your goal to your sense of self, about aligning your values and your interests and your passions to your goal, and really understanding that what your goal is important to you in your life at the moment. A fantastic tool that I utilize in my coaching is understanding your values. I'm not too sure if any of you have done a values assessment, but it is really powerful because it allows us to understand how we show up, how we react and respond, and a little bit of insight into our emotions. And our emotions are a very important part in the goal setting process. When you start the goal setting process and you're a little bit unclear of what goals you'd like to set, I like to do a mining exercise. So just a little bit of an analogy around the mining exercise. If you think about unearthing the ground, there are those big diggers that go in and they sort of unearth all the earth to get to the sparkly diamonds, which is our goals. So you start thinking about the various aspects of your life that you'd like to work on. It could be anything from family, relationships, work, anything around those sort of areas of life, okay, that is connected to your interests and your passions. You create a list of 15 to 20 areas of your life. And I know that seems like a lot, but when we start listing more areas of our life, it sort of stretches us to areas that are more specific and important to ourselves. Again, goals are about what we want to achieve in our life at the moment. Then, a good question to ask when we start refining these goals down is this an area of my life that I would like to work on? Is this an area of my life that I actually am sort of currently working on? Or is this an area of my life that I have things that I don't really want to work on? So you kind of start refining your list down from the 15 to 20 areas to about 3 areas that are important to you at the moment. So if you get a little bit stuck, because whittling down 20 areas of your life to 3 areas is quite challenging, another great question to ask is, what impact would it have if I had to work on this area? And what impact would it have if I didn't work on this area? So it's just clarifying how this will impact your life. So the next exciting step in goal setting is to create your vision. When we set goals, we are trying to identify where we currently are and where it is that we'd like to be. So this is our vision. And I like to create a goal statement. So what is a goal statement? A goal statement is a 5 to 7 word sentence that is succinct, it's specific, it is measurable, and it has a time frame. So I'm not too sure, some of you might know about SMART goals. This is sort of going in that direction. But just remembering to keep it succinct. It needs to be short and sweet and to the point. If I had to give you a few examples, let's say you had a goal to lose weight. So what would the goal statement be around losing weight? We want to know how much weight we want to lose. We want to know what the time frame we want to lose it in, and perhaps a few aspects of how we're going to make that happen. So, for instance, the goal statement around that would be, I would like to lose 10 kgs in 3 months by eating healthy and exercising more. All right. Let me give you a little goal that I'm working on at the moment. I would like to learn to surf in 3 months by standing up and riding a wave. I'm not there yet. And the little exercise we did earlier made me realize that I actually need to put better plans in place to make it happen. Another goal we can think of is, I would like to run a 21-kilometer race within 3 months. So it's creating that vision. It's creating of where it is that I want to get to. The steps in between is another process altogether, but at least we have our vision with the goal statement. A nice little process that I also like to do with my clients is creating a catchphrase. If you remember earlier, I said that emotions are a very important part of the goal setting process. Our goals need to excite us and they need to stretch us. So by creating this catchphrase, we are generating the emotions that we need to create the excitement and to create the motivation. So here's another analogy I'd like you to think of. If you were driving along the freeway and you lifted your head and there was this beautiful billboard on the side of the road, what is a 1 or 2 word catchphrase or image that'll help motivate you and excite you around your goal? So let's just tap back into the goal statements that we chatted about just now, and let's look at the goal around losing weight. So if I want to lose 10 kgs in 3 months, what would a 1 or 2 word catchphrase be or image that would motivate me? Perhaps it's a picture of somebody that we look up to and admire. You know, as a 40-year-old woman, I'm certainly not going to stick a picture up of a 16-year-old girl. It's not realistic. It's not going to motivate me. However, I am going to stick an image up of somebody that's perhaps my age, that looks similar, that's, you know, that I look up to. So I'll give you an example. A client of mine had a weight loss goal, and we chatted about what her catchphrase would be. And she said, Candace, J-Lo motivates me. And she stuck up a picture of J-Lo in her bedroom cupboard. And she said she used to get dressed in the morning and it made her feel confident and motivated. And that was her catchphrase to motivate her in achieving her goal. If I had to think about my goal of learning to surf, perhaps I would utilize the word surfs up, because it's exciting, it's fun, and it's motivating. If we had to think about the 21K running goal, perhaps I would use the words just do it, or the Nike tick, because it's like, let's just get on the road, let's get running. It just has to happen. So you can see how those catchphrases bring in those emotions to motivate you around the really fantastic focused goal statement that you would set around your goals. So the goal setting process should be a fun journey. You can really make it your own, get creative in doing it. Remember, it is about your journey and what it is that you want to achieve. I think sometimes we get a little bit stuck in the nice to haves or what everybody else is setting, You know, maybe you're not a runner and you don't want to run 21 kilometers, but your friends are. So what it is that you want to achieve within your life. Having a coach to be your journey partner and co-creator of your dreams as you walk along this path makes those uncertain days so much easier. Thank you so much for allowing me the opportunity to chat about goals today. I've really enjoyed connecting with all of you, and I'm going to hand you back over to introduce the next practitioner. Thank you so much, everybody.
Oh, wow, Candice, thank you so much. That was incredible. I feel like I learned so much, and I look forward to going back and re-listening to all of that again, because there is so much to take out of that. Thank you.
Thank you.
So our next speaker this morning is Lorato. She is a registered counselor, and she is going to discuss career goals with us. Thank you, Lorato, for joining us. Sorry, there's so many people joining, so I'm just adding everyone. Thanks, Lorato. You go ahead.
Good morning, everyone. I hope you're all well today and everybody had a good sleep. My name is Lerato Mthethwa, and I am a registered counselor with the HPCSA. So I like to be quite broad when I work with people. So I've worked with people of different cultures, different views, and different developmental systems. So with children, adults, schools, the police, as well as some NGOs. And I would just like to thank Stacey, thank you very much, and Jess for giving me the opportunity to be here today. I'm very excited, and I hope that everything that I talk about today is going to be quite valuable and informing for everyone. So today I'm going to be discussing something that's quite close to me and I find quite interesting. So I hope that everybody can take quite a lot of things away from this. And before we start, I'd like us to go back to the beginning, where we were asked to think about our dreams and our goals and how we would get there. So for 5 seconds, I would like everybody, you can close your eyes, you can wiggle your fingers or stretch, whatever you want. But for 5 seconds, just think about, where are you right now in terms of your goals, your career goals? So that's just 5 seconds. Let's think about it and keep that in your mind. All right, so the next thing I would like us to imagine is that we are about to walk into an empty house. So there's absolutely nothing in this house besides the walls that we are going to see. And on every wall that we see, there's going to be some new information. And as we walk through each room, we're going to be talking about this information. So I'd like to please share my page with you. So I'm just going to do that. Okay, so this is our first room. Career goals and creating and maintaining career goals. And the first thing I would like for us to look at is the acronym that I came up with, but it's not mine, SAC. So I came up with this acronym because I thought it'd be nice and interesting to remember, but it's also nice and simple, and the steps are quite easy to follow. So if we have something that is specific, we're able to know what we're doing and where we're going with this. And if we have something that is achievable, then we're also able to know how to go about doing it. And if something is challenging, then we are able to find it more interesting and have more goals to work towards. Can I just take a moment? I would like to close my screen. Sorry about that. Thank you very much for your patience, and let us continue. All right, so on this morning that I was creating or reading up about our career goals theory, SAC, I really needed to have my breakfast, but I didn't know what to have. So I thought to myself, okay, I love eggs. So that is the first thing that has to be the main part of my breakfast goal. So specifically, I want eggs. So I had an idea of what I wanted to do. So I wanted to have scrambled eggs for breakfast. So that was my specific idea for my breakfast. The second thing I had to think about was, is this achievable? Am I able to have this kind of breakfast? So I thought, yes, I have the eggs, I have some salt, I have oil, and I have a cooking pan and a stove, of course. So yes, my goal is achievable. And the next step is looking at how challenging it is. So making the eggs won't necessarily be challenging, but if I introduce something else to my breakfast, maybe feta, that could be a challenge because I don't have any feta in my fridge, but I can go to the shops. Leaving my home may be a bit of a mission because then I'm adding something else to it, but it makes my breakfast more scrumptious and more enjoyable. Therefore, my time is spent wisely and in an interesting way. So our goals may sometimes seem a little bit challenging, but they're always rewarding at the end because there's nothing more satisfying than completing something you did not think that you could complete or you could not believe that you would complete in a certain time. So please remember, our goals should be specific, achievable, as well as challenging. So if we think about specific goals, the first thing we should think about is career planning. So what are my values? What are your values? And in life generally, when you do things that are correlated with your values, you generally feel more at ease. Your conscience feels better because you're doing something that you're used to doing and you are comfortable doing. So it's always or mostly generally a good thing to find a career that will make you feel comfortable, that will connect with your emotions and your desires, therefore you enjoy what you are doing. The second step would be career assessment. So you can either go to counseling for a career assessment where you can talk to a counselor and they can assist you with what is the best career for you to go for, or what kind of person are you and which career would be the best for you to try to think about going towards. And another thing would be career assessment. I remember when I was in grade 9 and we were about to go to the next level, which is grade 10. And before we could do that, we had to do, I think it was called an aptitude test at the time. So this test allowed us to be able to see, should I do history, French, and drama, or should I do biology, science, and accounting? It helped us find who we are as people, what we enjoy to do, and where our strengths are. So this is something you could look at doing a career assessment. Should I be in a field that works with people? Should I be in entertainment? Or should I be in a field where I'm working with my hands? Wherever your strengths are is where you should be. The third step would be developing skills connected to your goals. So if you're going to follow a specific career, it is always best to do it with something that is connected to your goals. So volunteering. For example, before I graduated and I first started doing my degree, I used to go to a place called Hillcrest Aid Center and I used to help out. I didn't necessarily help out with counseling at the time. I would help with the gardening, or I would go to different communities and help with the timetable management, as well as doing some beadwork. But this allowed me to see the environment I would be working in, the environment of working with people, of meeting new people. You can also watch videos. Watching videos can allow you as a person to see how other people do things and if this would work for you or if this would not work for you. The fourth step would be building career networks. This is very important if you are a person that is looking to expand in your long-term career, especially if you have small goals, little steps that will lead you to your main goal. So by meeting new people in your field or volunteering in your field, you are connecting and stretching your connections so that whenever you need assistance or whenever they need assistance, you are available to be there. So do not forget your main goal as well as the little goals that lead to your main goal should be specific. And are our goals achievable? There's nothing more frustrating than trying to do something that you know is not achievable. Not only is it demotivating, but it's also really tiring. Always trying to do something and just realizing it's not working, you start to doubt yourself and feel like you do not have the capacity to reach these goals. But if we just take a moment and think, do I have eggs? Do I have salt? Do I have oil? Do I have a pan? And do I have a stove? Yes, I do. Then we can work with what we have. So the first thing we should think about are our values. Our goals must be accepted. So there's no point in trying to follow something that you do not like or you do not accept. So accept your goals or choose goals that you accept. Number 2, emotions and desires. People who generally believe they are capable will always try harder to succeed at difficult tasks. Sometimes you're faced with a situation that you feel, oh my goodness gracious, how am I going to do this? Where will I start? But if you know your values and you understand your capabilities, as well as understand how much you're willing to push forward, it is always a little bit easier or a little bit more acceptable to complete these difficult tasks, these challenges that we put ourselves towards. The third steps, are our goals directional? Are we giving attention? Think about mobilization, effort, persistence, and strategies. So our goals must be difficult, but not unattainable. So not everybody is really interested in difficult activities, but let's be real. If you accomplish a goal that you did not imagine yourself being able to accomplish, there is nothing more exciting and nothing more fulfilling than that. So challenging goals are exciting for us, and they're also developing us in every step that we work in. Number 4, intentions. Goals are more effective when they are used to evaluate our performance. So I have finished making my scrambled eggs. How are they? Are they wonderful? Are they bad? If they're bad, what did I do wrong? What can I do better next time? And if they are great, this is fabulous. Am I able to maintain the same quality next time? So you're able to evaluate yourself to see, am I a better actress today than I was yesterday? Am I a better wielder today than I was yesterday? Am I able to work on my goals? Am I able to accomplish anything that I've wanted to work towards? Number 5 is our behavior. So feedback must be provided in order for us to be able to attain our goals and for the goals attained, to see, did I do well? Did I not do well? How well did I do, or how badly did I do? And last but not least, our outcomes. These are very important, especially with deadlines. Deadlines are the most effective way to improve our goals. I find that for myself, if I have something that I have to do, for example, I have to do CPD points sometimes for my license to make sure that I'm up to date with all the information in our field in psychology. The only way for me to actually get this done is by saying, okay, today is Monday. I need to study. By Friday, I am writing. If I do not do that, I will spend 9 months saying to myself, I'll do this tomorrow. I'll do this later, and I never actually get it done. So having a deadline is really important. It allows you to be able to monitor your time and actually have a goal too. It's like a little goal. and challenging. Like I said, not everybody likes challenges, but I remember in primary school when we used to go on our school excursions and we had to go in the mud underneath the nets and crawl through the mud and race. At first, it seemed like, oh my goodness, I can't do this. Like, this is crazy. But when you were done, when you were doing it and you could see that this is really happening, you feel really excited and you feel proud of yourself when it's done. So let's look at maintaining our career goals by including challenging little goals to get to our big goal. So seek self-improving opportunities. So whatever it is, like for example, like I was saying, I have to do some CPD points in order to improve myself in my field. So that allows me to develop because now I've gained more information and I can use that in my sessions. And difficult tasks are more achievable when one believes they are capable. If you're going to enter into a difficult situation, it is really important to understand that you are capable of doing this so that you are able to complete all the steps that are involved in the task. Proactivity builds your future career and enhances employability. So if you are proactive, by this we mean in your field, what are you doing? Are you doing anything on the side to develop yourself, to make yourself more noticeable in your field, to make yourself more employable? And by doing these things, not only are you more employable, but you're also more valuable as an asset in your field. People who believe they're generally capable will try harder to succeed. I mean, if I look at the chocolate cake and I think to myself, I will finish this cake, I definitely will finish it because I believe that I am capable and I will try my best to finish it because I don't know how I feel about putting it away in the fridge. I don't think it will taste just as good as it did in the moment that I wanted to eat it. So if you believe that you're capable, you definitely will be able to complete your goal. And your level of interest is very important. There's nothing worse than doing something you are not interested in. So pick something you're interested in. Maintain your interest. Find new things to make it more interesting. And by keeping your interest, you're able to keep your goal in the long run and continue to maintain it even after you've reached it. There's never an end to goals, especially our main goal. There's always more you can add onto it. And last but not least, high goals are good. Not only are they good because anything that's a high goal is generally really awesome, but when you have high goals, it's easier for you to work on lots of little goals, daily goals, monthly goals, yearly goals, to finally reach your final high goal. So you're able to work towards these high goals little by little, step by step, in order to get to the point. And if you make any mistakes, it's okay. You can always go back and try again, because at the end of the day, these mistakes, these winnings, these challenges, all lead to our final goal. Thank you very much, everybody. I hope that that was helpful, and I really hope that you're able to think again about what we thought about earlier. Your goal. Where are you right now? Where do you want to go? And I hope that these steps allow you to reach your goals. Thank you, and have a wonderful day further. And I would like to take you back to our speaker.
Wonderful. Lerato, thank you so much for that. That was value-packed information. That was incredible. Thank you.
It's my pleasure. Thank you.
Oh, I'm loving today. Thank you, everybody. So up next is Kirsten. Kirsten is a transformational life coach, and she is going to discuss with us how to have a healthy relationship with food and fitness goals. So Kirsten, thank you so much for joining us, and we're looking so forward to hearing what you have to say.
Thank you so much. Can you guys hear me? Thumbs up? Okay, cool. Thanks so much for having me. This is really exciting, and thank you to the other people who have been talking. I've learned a lot from you as well. Okay, so I am Kirsten Honeyball. I am a life coach, and my background is coaching people who struggle with the relationship that they have with food in their body and addiction. So the first thing I'd like to put out in the open is that one of the reasons why I'm so incredibly passionate about helping people with their relationships to their body and their food is because it's something that I still have to work on a daily basis. And I feel like because I am able to work on and achieve certain goals that I set out for myself in relation to my food and my body, like I feel that I have the ability to help people navigate that area for themselves as well. So firstly, I want to acknowledge that as a coach, I'm human too, you know, and that human relationship is really important when working with a coach. And so what I want to do is bring this idea to the word relationship. So even though my two topics are separate, I've got the fitness goals and the healthy relationship with food. It's going to be interchangeable as I speak because the two are often related. So working with this word relationship brings me to this concept of the way that we treat ourselves and the ability to motivate ourselves or to achieve a goal or something like that is often very connected to the relationship that we have with ourselves. And the relationship that we have with ourselves can be reflected in the relationship that we have with the outside world as well. So whether it's with our colleagues or our family members or our relationship with how we view society or our relationship with money or anything like that. And it's all interconnected with each other. So a lot of the time what people get wrong with their fitness and health goals is that they isolate it. And they isolate this this idea of I'm going to go to the gym 5 times a week and I'm going to only eat green vegetables and I'm going to whatever. And they fail to connect to the relationships and the way that they relate to the world and themselves in other areas of their life. And that is the thing that I want to emphasize, that is probably the fundamental aspect of creating and maintaining healthy relationship with your fitness and with your food and your body, is the ability to have a healthy relationship to yourself. So the first thing I want to talk about is the difference between creating goals and maintaining goals in terms of this relationship with yourself, which will then reflect in the relationship you have with food, your body, and your exercise. A lot of the time people try to persevere and push through exercise that they read out of a 21 days to bikini body fitness magazine, and they end up not getting it right because they forget that it doesn't work that way. We don't go get your fitness goals right and then suddenly you'll feel motivated and everything will be grand and you'll get that body you want, or you'll create those habits you want, or something like that. It actually often goes the other way around. And that's where self-assessment becomes really, really important in your starting point of your creating of health and fitness goals. So when I say self-assessment, it means to start off with going a little bit deeper as to your intention behind what it is you're trying to achieve. So for instance, if you're wanting to get, I hate that we always talk about losing weight, because I mean, sometimes people don't want to lose weight. Sometimes people want to gain weight, or they want to learn how to eat more freely and more junk food, and not necessarily the other way around, you know. So, but I'm just for the sake of this webinar, I'll often revert to that. So say, for example, you have the intention to lose 5 kilograms. Now, if you allow yourself to go a little bit deeper as to why it is that you're setting that goal, a lot of the time this can help you maintain the goal or reassess whether the goal that you're setting for yourself is actually in your best interest or not. So for instance, if you are wanting to achieve losing 5 kilograms, but your intention and your motivation and your why behind this idea of losing the weight is because you feel that you're not good enough for your partner, you know, This is a intention that is rooted in something that is self-destructive. And it means that your relationship with yourself needs to be the thing that needs to be assessed, because perhaps in this situation, what you're trying to do is not lose 5 kilograms. Perhaps in this situation, what you're trying to do is learn how to better connect with your partner, or how to have more self-worth and value in yourself so that the extra 5 kilograms doesn't make a difference, you know? So when setting your health and fitness goals or your food goals, it's really important to assess why you're doing it, because there may be things that are underlying that you haven't given yourself a chance to evaluate. And I often do this by making some time to just find some stillness and be on your own, and actually physically take pen to paper and write about what it is that's really going on for you. So that's number one. What is really going on for you? What is your intention behind your goal? And is there anything else that you need to be assessing or evaluating in conjunction to this goal? So, so that's the first step. The next thing is to evaluate what things in your life currently are contributing to that goal and what is not contributing to the goal. So, for instance, if you have the goal of having and maintaining a healthier lifestyle, yet you're spending every Friday and Saturday evening going out until all hours of the night with your friends and having a jaw, like, that's going to leave you sleep deprived. It's going to leave you possibly feeling fatigued if you're drinking alcohol, or maybe feeling lethargic the next day, or having regrets because you've had one too many or something like that. So you need to assess, what is it in my life right now that's actually bringing me more towards this goal that I want, and then do more of that. And what is pulling me away from this goal, and then do less of that. So a lot of the time, what really people find that they struggle with is, once they assess what they need to do more of, they struggle to follow through with doing more of that thing. And something that really, really helps with the ability to follow through on an action that you've decided to do for yourself is to visualize it. And when I say visualize, I mean to literally sit down and imagine yourself with your eyes closed, doing the action from start to end, and go in as much detail as possible, whether it's the colors that you'll be wearing, or the smells around you, or the people you'll be talking to, or, you know, what route you'll drive to get to the place you want to go, or whatever it is. Try to visualize it in as much detail as possible. And as soon as you've got that pocket of the visual representation of the thing you're wanting to do, you then drop into the feeling associated with completing that action. So for instance, if you want to go to gym at 6 o'clock in the morning, but you really, really struggle to get out of bed and to just motivate yourself before work, you can visualize yourself waking up, having a glass of water, deciding to go to the gym, driving the route, getting to doing your workout, coming home and feeling refreshed and energized and ready for your day. And really try to embody that feeling. Try to embody how it feels to feel refreshed and energized and ready for your day, you know, because as soon as you can drop into that feeling of what that action is going to achieve for you, it sparks a motivation within you on a subconscious level. So visualization is the second thing. So intention, visualization. What was mentioned by Candace previously was this idea of, are we creating our goals from a place of punishment, or from a place and like perfection, or are we rooting our goals in love? So for instance, a lot of people with their fitness goals, they get the incorrect, they do it incorrectly by saying, okay, well, I've never gymmed in my life, I've never exercised, never done this. Okay, now I'm going to go to the gym every single day of the week, and I'm going to work out for 2 hours, you know. And they do that for 3 weeks, and they're super motivated and super energized. next thing they know, they're absolutely crashing because they can't maintain the amount of time that they're spending during their exercise, or they can't maintain the lifestyle that comes with having to be at a certain place at a certain time. Or people go to extremes like saying, okay, I want to lose weight, so I'm going to go on the 1,500 calorie diet, which is ridiculous. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous. There is no way that you can nourish your body by depriving it. So it's really important to not throw yourself into an extreme that is not sustainable. It's going to be easier and better for you to make small incremental changes on a daily basis that lead you towards a better lifestyle, more than making extreme changes to your life overnight and then just completely fatiguing yourself or exhausting yourself, or trying to push yourself to an unrealistic expectation of what it means to be in your body. And it also becomes very important to commit to your journey, but to stay flexible in your approach to it. So for instance, if you've decided to go for a run 3 times a week, but maybe this week you have a friend's birthday on the Friday and you aren't able to get to the run, you've got to give yourself that leeway to say, you know, I'm going to choose something that's going to bring me enjoyment and fulfillment, which is spending good time with someone that I love today and celebrating their life. And that doesn't mean that I can't go for a run tomorrow or go for a run next week, you know. So it's this ability to allow yourself that flexibility, but staying committed at the same time. Because a lot of the time what people do is they associate flexibility with giving up, you know. So, okay, I'm not going to go for this run because I am going to go to my friend's birthday. And then they wake up the next morning and they're like, oh, well, there's my plan out the window. I may as well just stop. So, sorry, I'm moving very fast, but I'm just like trying to get through everything. So it's really important to remove rigidity from your goals in your terms of your fitness and your food relationship. So for instance, if you've decided that you want to eat more green vegetables, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to go on a 30-day juice cleanse, you know. It might mean that you're just going to buy a bunch of kale and make sure that one meal a day has some kale in it, you know. So it's about these incremental changes that are going to lead towards a better lifestyle. The next thing is to determine your body type. So for those of you who don't know, there are different body types. If I go and do weight training, I'm going to increase my muscle mass a lot quicker than another person is going to. So 2 people can do the exact same exercise and have completely different results. And a good way to determine your body type is actually, I think it's 3 body types. You can look at it from a yogic point of view. So in the world of yoga, you've got your vata and your, I forget the names of it now, but there's 3 different body types. And that shows that, you know, your body is going to thrive better if you eat warm foods, or if you eat spicy foods, or if you eat lots of grains, or if you eat lots of dairy, you know. So a lot of people's different body types are able to respond to certain foods in a different way. So while one person may become a vegetarian because they think that that's really healthy, it's actually not ideal for their body because their body reacts better to meat. And another person might think that they need lots of protein, so they're eating red meat every day, but their body type isn't responding well to red meat, and they would actually benefit more from a vegetarian diet. So it's really important to look at your body type in terms of your food and your exercise. And I will chat to the Connectable Life ladies after this. I'd be happy to do a post about the different body types and just give it to them so that they can share on their Instagram or any of their sites that they have. Okay, the next thing is to determine your likes and your dislikes. So it doesn't help you at all if you go to the gym 3 times a week and lift weights if you hate it. Maybe you're a socially interactive person. Wow, my English is terrible. Maybe you're more of a social person. And your fitness goals will be better achieved if you join a soccer team, or if you start tennis or something like that. You know, you're going to have to assess the type of person you are. If you're the type of person who loves alone time and tranquility and peace while you're exercising, maybe yoga is the best thing for you, you know. And also with foods, there's no point on me loving chocolate and never allowing myself to have it. Or there's no point on me forcing myself to eat a certain way if it's not what I find tasty or enjoyable. There's also no point on me saying, well, I'm going to never have a pizza because that's going to be unhealthy. Like, that's also, it's ridiculous, because pizza is great, you know. So you've really got to just assess your likes and your dislikes, and then have an action plan to follow through with those things. The next thing is, this is a bit of an abstract one, to find symbolic changes that can reflect your decision. And what I mean by that is, often we try to push towards a goal and we isolate, like I said, we isolate it, but we don't assess maybe what we can be doing in other areas of our life to enhance the ability to achieve that goal. So say, for instance, if you want a better relationship with your body, you might go, okay, well, maybe I should look at my relationship with my partner. How can I increase or enhance or develop that relationship? And the more you become able to look at your relationships outside of just yourself, the more you're able to assess and develop that relationship with yourself. So if you can have more compassion for your partner's little nicks and ticks that get to you, you might be able to have more compassion for your own flaws or your downfalls, or whatever you want to call them, you know. So the ability to assess the other areas of your life and bring them into your goals is really important. And then the next thing that I want to talk about is just the maintenance of your goals. I'm going to go through this very quickly because I want to get to the most important thing at the end, and I don't want to jeopardize the time on that. Take smallest possible actions during the times that you feel that you can't achieve the goal that you've set out. So say, for instance, if you've decided to go for an hour run or a 10K run or whatever it is today, and you're actually feeling really tired, it doesn't mean that you necessarily have to shut it all down. You could go for a 20-minute walk around the block just to get yourself moving, you know, or you could decide to do 10 minutes of breath work or yoga or something like that, just to get yourself into a space of staying committed with the smallest possible action. And that comes in other parts of your life as well. So if you are experiencing any, you know, a situation in your life where you feel like, maybe today I have a really big headache and I don't know what to do because I'm at work and I can't take a nap, and maybe you can just have a glass of water, you know. There's always a tiny, tiny little thing that you can do to just get yourself into a better state that you're in at that point, even if it's 30 seconds of mindful breathing. The next thing that's really, really great is the ability to daily check in with yourself. So recently what I've been doing is, in the morning I ask myself 2 questions, and in the evening I ask myself 2 questions. The morning questions are, where do I need to focus my energy today? And what can I positively affirm over my life? My evening questions are, how am I feeling? And what do I need? And I find that when I answer these 4 questions, I am checking in with myself on a daily basis to get myself grounded. I don't have to go write an essay. I just need to answer those questions, because that means that every single day I'm paying attention to what's really going on inside of me, so that I can see, you know, today I just need a rest because I'm feeling tired. today I need to speak to my partner about the argument we had last night because I'm feeling hurt. You know, it's just such simple little questions to ask yourself morning and night. You set your day up and you put yourself to sleep without carrying baggage into your night or without carrying something into your day. This brings me to my last point, is this ability to connect with people when you are setting goals for yourself. A lot of the time, we isolate ourselves because we think, well, this is my goal and I need to achieve it. So say, for instance, I'm bringing us back to that idea of going out with friends and having a few drinks, right? So what I once dealt with a client who said, you know, I go out with my friends and I have a couple of glasses of wine and it makes me feel really horrible, and I get up the next day and I can't actually get through my day because it's given me a hangover. And everyone else can have a couple of glasses of wine and it just makes me feel terrible, you know. And I said to this person, have you told your friends that you don't want to have a glass of wine, or you don't want to stay up until 3 o'clock in the morning? Have you told anyone that this is what you're working towards? And she was like, no, I haven't. Like, no one will understand. You know, they'll think I'm silly. You know, and I think that's where it becomes so important to become okay with expressing yourself to other people. To say, this is the goal I want to achieve in my life, and this is what I'm doing. And you'll find that 9 times out of 10, you're going to find a respectful response where someone's going to say, oh my gosh, that's so great. Like, that's really cool. And if you have friends that are supportive, you might find it gets to 11 o'clock and at night while you're out, and they might say, oh, you know, it's 11 o'clock. You said you wanted to be up tomorrow for your run, so maybe you should get home now, you know? So create a support system with people that care about you. And if you find that you're in a situation where those people that you're around are not supporting your goals, you often want to reassess whether the people you're surrounding yourself with are the people that are actually helping you get to a better version of yourself. And if they aren't, then it might be time for you to reassess your relationships, you know. So the other thing is to seek counsel. And this could be in terms of a professional, like a coach or a counselor or a personal trainer or something like that. But it could also be just someone you trust, a friend or someone who's walked your journey. Maybe you've seen a friend who was a binge eater who was able to stop binge eating. And you might go to them and you say, well, how do I do what you did? And be willing to humble yourself enough to say, this is what I'm not doing correctly. How can I do better? And to remember that you are not crazy. So a lot of the time we are very scared to express what we are struggling with because we think we're the only ones. I really struggle stop binge eating because I'm clearly the only one who does it and no one else will understand what I'm talking about. That's very rarely the case. We are all humans. We are all along the human condition at some varying degree, and we're all able to relate to each other if we are allowing ourselves to be authentic, open, and allowing ourselves to get vulnerable to a point that we are open to receiving help, support, and guidance from others. So even though this has been about, you know, your fitness, your food, your health goals, all of that stuff, I want to really emphasize the point that it's more than that. Your health and fitness links in with the way you approach your career. It links in with the way you approach the bigger picture, your creative energy, your passions, your personal relationships, your past, your future. You know, all of these things are really interconnected. And I think that that's what I'm really passionate about in the way I deal with my clients, is because they might come to me with a problem about their relationship. and we actually end up figuring out that it's that they really need to assess their career, you know, that like and how it interacts with how everything interacts with each other. So you are human, and you're a complex human, and you are a layered human. So to look at yourself from one aspect is often it's great to be focused and specific and all of that kind of stuff, but a lot of the time you need to start looking at yourself from all areas, especially when it comes to your relationship with how you treat your body on a physical level. So my coaching, like I said, I have a history of working with people specifically with eating disorders, but also with this relationship with food, your body, and yourself as a whole. And then obviously releasing negative habits and addiction as well. I really just believe in incorporating yourself as a whole human and really just assessing all of those aspects. So yeah, I think I've spoken a lot, and I hope that I've gotten everything in that I was thinking about. So I will hand it over to the Connectable Life ladies, and we'll have the next speaker. Thank you, guys.
Oh, amazing, Kirsten. That was incredible. Thank you so much. That was just, I learned so much, and it was so interesting, and there was so much that I can take away from that. So thank you. I look forward to going back over it and reassessing my life again. It's really lovely when we can do that. So up next is Paula. Paula, thank you so much for being with us. Paula is a life and relationship coach. She is going to discuss relationship goals and having a good self-image. Thanks, Paula.
Thanks, ladies. So awesome to be here and listening to all the other amazing speakers that have shared such wonderful information. So yeah, I'm looking forward to sharing some insights around the work that I do. I've been working with couples for over 12 years now from a relationship perspective, and in fact that is the work that I do. I work with couples and individuals around relationships dynamics, so relationship with self, relationship in your personal space, and then also work with organizations around relationships in the workplace, so team dynamics, communication, conflict, human behavior profiling, etc. So when it comes to couples, one of the things that I often see that impacts relationships hugely is around, we're very good at setting individual goals for ourselves, whether it be, you know, health and fitness goals or studying and career and those kind of things, but we very seldom set goals for ourselves as a couple. And so one of the ways that I encourage people to look at their relationship is to think of it as a business partnership. When you're in a business partnership and you're working with, you know, your team or someone else, you have a common goal or common objectives or deliverables that you're working towards. And it's no different when it comes to your relationship. So there's you and your partner, and the space between you is what we call the relational space. And that is the space where your relationship lives, and how you show up is how you co-create that relational space. And that's what keeps your relationship alive. It's what feeds your relationship. And if couples don't work together, or so being on the same side, the same team, if they don't work together, eventually what happens over time, and I see it so often, is couples start drifting apart. Because they focus on their own goals. They focus on, you know, putting all the effort and energy into work or kids or, you know, running the household, that kind of thing, or sports or hobbies, but they very seldom put the same amount of effort or attention into how do we grow together as a team, as a couple. And yeah, there's what I call relationship currencies. Okay, and generally when you ask an individual or a couple, how do you contribute to your relationship, the first thing that comes to mind is money, finances. And yes, that is one aspect of how we contribute to our relationships, but there are 5 pillars. Okay, the one is the functional pillar, that's the doing pillar. This is the doing things like the household chores, the grocery shopping, the DIY. It's all those doing things, okay? So it's on a functional level. Then the next pillar is around the emotional pillar, or the emotional things. How do I feel about my relationship? How do I feel about my partner? Do I feel safe, psychologically or emotionally safe? Do I trust them? Do we respect each other? Do I feel safe? Do I feel secure? Do I feel loved, valued, appreciated? Okay. The next pillar is the financial pillar, and this is, each household and each relationship is different. So it's based on what your income is, because you can't expect each other to contribute equally financially to your relationship. If one of you is earning 100,000 Rand and the other is earning 50,000 Rand, it's impossible to expect each other to contribute equally from a financial perspective. So how are you contributing? And it's not just about paying money or contributing money. It's also around how do we manage the money in terms of paying the bills, savings, investments, being responsible with money, managing debt, assets, etc. Then the next pillar is the physical side of the relationship. So your sexual side and intimacy side that comes into that. And how are you contributing to your relationship in terms of that pillar and that currency? And then the fifth pillar is your spiritual pillar. And for spirituality can mean different things to different people. So for some people it can be religion and faith. For other people it can be meditation. It can be going into nature. It can be going to the ocean. Whatever it is that keeps you grounded and feeds your soul. Things like personal growth and development. How do I grow and develop myself? But at the same time, how are we growing and developing each other and lifting each other up as a couple instead of pulling each other down? So in other words, getting into a toxic space, or growing apart and growing distant where we just don't have much in common anymore. And so that's where the relationship goals come in. And often couples don't sit down and go, what are our relationship goals going to be? And from a couple perspective. And often the common thing that comes up is, well, we need to go on date nights. We need to spend quality time together, and kind of date nights is the default for that. And quality time is very important as part of one of the goals that a couple should be establishing and implementing and holding each other accountable for. And for those that work with me, they know I don't like to call it date night. I prefer to call it date time, because everybody's schedule is different and it's what works for you. So date time could be breakfast, lunch, brunch, afternoon sundowners. It could be dinner. And it doesn't even have to be at a fancy restaurant. It could be as simple as, you know what, we're going to switch off all the distractions, so devices, TV, laptop, kids, whatever it might be, and we're going to make quality time to be present for each other, fully present and connected. And we're going to use that time to review, reassess, where are we at? So what's working in our relationship? What are we good at? What are we doing well? And how do we keep doing more of that? And then what areas can we improve on? And how do we then, what actions do we need to put in place, or what steps and measures that we can actually make those improvements and help us build and grow together as a couple and as a relationship? So definitely quality time is one of those things, or date time, whichever you want to call it, is one goal that couples should be looking at. Communication is important, because if you don't have communication, you don't have connection. Communication equals connection. And when we start losing communication, we start losing the connection. And that's when that relational space, the space between us, doesn't feel emotionally safe. And then we start bringing up those protective walls, those defensive walls, and ultimately over time we can go distant and apart, or the relational space can become very toxic and very volatile, and that just ends up destroying not only you as a person and as a couple in a relationship, but also potentially the family dynamic if you have children involved as well. So if you just look as a couple at those 5 particular pillars and put down goals in each one of those areas as relationship goals. So functionally, how are we sharing the household chores and responsibilities? Who does what? Who's good at what? Because you both bring different skill sets to the table. So for example, in my household, I take care of our social calendar and our social diary. because it's just not something my hubby's not good at. But he doesn't enjoy it. You know, he's good at other things. He likes to do the DIY stuff and you know, pottering around the house and those kind of things, or what I call the boy jobs. So that's what he does, you know, and then that's how we manage the functional stuff between us. And then from an emotional stuff, sitting down and saying, you know, how am I feeling? You know, something that you said really upset me, or, you know, this is what I need from you instead, because when you said this, it made me feel that. And what I need from you next time or instead is this. So how are you communicating your needs to each other, and how are you being there for each other and meeting each other's needs? Then from a financial point of view, and I've touched on that already, in terms of how do you manage the finances that it seems fair. If one of you is more disciplined and good at paying the bills, then take that on while the other one manages another aspect of it. How are you contributing to your physical relationship, your sexual side? Because just like our relationship can get into a rut and a routine and get boring, so too can our sexual life. Our sex life can become boring and routine, and so we constantly need to keep the spice going in it. We need to keep the thing going, and we need to talk to each other about, you know, what we like and what we don't like. And then lastly, from a spiritual point of view, how do we make sure and put steps in place that we grow together as a couple, and that, you know, we're constantly improving ourselves to be the best partners for each other, because there is no such thing as the perfect person or perfect relationship. It's how perfect can you be for each other, because you value each other, you appreciate each other, and you want to succeed as a couple, as a team. So that's around relationship goals and how you can set yourselves up for success when it comes to being in a relationship. And it's really about being intentional with your relationship and giving it, your relationship and each other, the same amount of focus, attention and energy as you would in, for example, your career goals. Then when it comes to self-image, which does link into your relationship and your relationship goals, and some of the ladies have touched on those areas already, in that if you don't feel good about yourself, it will potentially influence and affect your relationship and come into your relational space. And so often we carry baggage from our childhood, you know, in terms of what we've been exposed to, how our upbringing, our conditioning, our values, traditions, beliefs, etc. So when we're not feeling good about ourselves, we can potentially impact our relationship because we bring it into that. And one of the things that often comes up, because I've been running both men's and women's personal growth and development programs for the last 6 years, so I have the pleasure of seeing it from both sides, from a men's perspective and from a woman's perspective. And the beauty of it is that we often have the same issues, but we just approach it very differently. So talking about body image, for example, you know, when women deal with body image issues, it's all around, you know, their self-confidence, their self-esteem, wanting to look good and feel good about themselves, those kind of things. Whereas for men, they position it more as a fitness and a health goal, because they want to be around to see their kids grow up, and they want to be able to be active and participate with their kids, and they want to be healthy to provide for their families. And so, you know, that's where their weight goals come in, and, you know, wanting to be healthy and fit and those kind of things. And they also have issues with their body image, just like women do. So, but I'm going to generally talk from a female perspective. We often, and I myself have suffered from it and do suffer from it at times, and that is the imposter syndrome. And that's often where, you know, we feel like a fake or a fraud, or that we don't deserve the success that we've achieved, or that you know, where we've got to in life, or we feel like we haven't achieved anything because we're so busy comparing ourselves and our lives to everybody else out there. And social media plays a big role in this, in terms of, you know, these grand lifestyles, or these happy lifestyles and relationships that people are living. But we're only seeing one side of the coin. We're not seeing behind the scenes, and we're not seeing what's really going on, what people are having to endure or overcome to, you know, to be successful. So when it comes to self-image, stop comparing yourself to others, because you are not them and they are not you. You're on a different path. You don't know what they've had to overcome to get to where they are, and they don't know what you're going through, okay? And one of the tools that I use is, it's called your lifeline. So sit down with a piece of paper and draw up your lifeline as far back as you can remember in terms of what were your successes and what do you think or consider failures. And often we see situations and things that we didn't achieve as we are a failure. But there is no such thing as failure. Failure is an event. It is not a person, okay? Failure is just feedback. So if you didn't achieve your goal for whatever reason, look at the feedback, okay? What did you do? What didn't you do? Perhaps you had unrealistic expectations. Perhaps you had you didn't have enough information to make an informed decision to set up the goal in the first place. Perhaps you didn't break it down into small actionable steps. Whatever it might be, listen to that feedback, and then how do you use that feedback going forward? Also, guilt. We're very good at carrying that guilt bag with us and wearing that cloak. You know, we feel bad because we let people down, we're disappointing people, we find it difficult to say no and put boundaries down. We feel like, you know, we're afraid of rejection, we're afraid of judgment, and that's often underlying imposter syndrome and guilt. Because at a basic human level, our basic need is to be loved and accepted. And if we feel that that is being threatened or at jeopardy, we will often compromise ourselves. So we will end up putting everybody else's needs first and we'll put our needs last. And generalizing again, but women are very good at this. So let go of the guilt, and guilt simply stands for give up irrational thinking and let go of torturing yourself, okay? That irrational thinking is the should have, would have, could have, and that record that we play over and over again, the analysis paralysis. And so I use the 5-second rule. It's a Mel Robbins tool she uses, and she goes, every time there's a negative thought that comes into my head, it's almost like seeing a tape recorder rewinding, going 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, bring it back to and think of another, replace it with a positive thought. And then fear. Fear is an underlying fear. And as I said, you know, fear is just the element of the unknown, and there will always be an element of the unknown because we never, ever, ever have all the answers 100%. And so it's getting comfortable with being uncomfortable. It's getting comfortable with that unknown factor. So the fear is, what are the facts right now that I can work with? So right now, this is where I'm at. This is what I can do. And then what am I feeling? The E is emotions, okay? So right now I'm feeling scared. I'm feeling this. I'm feeling anxious. Because if you name it, you can tame it, right? So once you acknowledge your emotions, you can start processing and working through it and work through the emotions instead of either avoiding the emotions or allowing your emotions to paralyze you. And then the A stands for action. So now that I know the facts, I know my emotions, what's one action that I can take to just move one step forward? Because even one step forward gives us a new perspective. It gives us a new exposure to information or the situation or the environment. And then the R stands for what is my new reality then? So if I just use that tool, that process, fear, facts, E, emotions, A, action, and R, reality, to keep processing and taking one step forward, that is the only way that you can work through the fear and face it instead of it paralyzing and holding you back. And lastly, in the process, to be gentle and kind to yourself. Self-care, self-love. If you don't show yourself self-care and self-love, it's very difficult for other people to, okay? And I always use this analogy that if you were your best friend and you were giving your best friend advice on what to do, what would you tell them? And how do you follow your own advice as your own best friend? Instead of coming down so hard on yourself and beating yourself up, because at the end of the day, we are only human and we do make mistakes, and there is no such thing as the perfect world out there. We all have flaws. So how do you accept yourself, flaws and all, and love you because you are perfectly imperfect? And so thank you for the opportunity to share these tips and insights with you, and I hope it's given you some food for thought. And I'm going to hand back to the Connectable ladies.
Paula, thank you so much. That was so valuable. I just feel like this morning has been incredible. Thank you. For one, I've learned so much. So we've got 2 speakers left. Neither of them could actually be with us today. So there are short recordings that they sent through. Please stay tuned if you can. I know that we've run over a little bit, but yeah, it would still be great if you can stay with us, and we've got the prize at the end. So I'm going to put the presentation on now, and we can watch our first recording, which is Lynn. She is a registered counselor and a parenting coach. And
opportunity to share with you today on parenting goals. I'm going to speak briefly and obviously very generally, but for me, the starting point of setting any goals is to make sure that they are achievable and they are sustainable. And so in setting your goals, I would encourage you to start with short-term goals, which then are the building blocks for your longer-term goals. So if I could ask you to imagine your family as a house, the starting point is a foundation, and a strong foundation in a family is to have a connection point. Connection means that you naturally engage with one another in a meaningful way, whether it's spending time chatting or just having a family game time, playing sport together, going for a run. Whatever the connection point is, it means that your children walk away and they know that they are loved, they are valuable, and they are special. And you build and you're filling their little love tanks up. And so connection is the point that we use in order to develop a sense of trust with our children. It is the point at which they know they can trust us when we have to discipline them, which means that we are teaching them right from wrong. And it's also where we have to sometimes encourage them to take that step of courage to do something that they feel uncomfortable doing. But if we have a strong and healthy connection point, and they know that we have their best interest at heart, that we love them and we believe in them, it makes it a little bit easier. So connection means that you know your children's love languages and you know how to fill their love tank. And it also means that you are then building onto the one wall, which I call building their identity and sense of purpose. And so that is where we are always aware of validating who they are and their uniqueness. We're not comparing them to one child from another. We're not comparing them to their friends, their cousins, or anyone else. We're just validating who they are in their personality styles and celebrating their uniqueness. The world would be a very boring place if we were all the same. And that's what I always say to the children that I work with. There is no other person like them on this earth. And wouldn't it be boring if we were all exactly the same? And they just love that picture and that sense of this is who I am and there's no one else like me. So rather than comparing and saying one child is this and the other one is that, build the uniqueness, which then creates a sense of identity where you celebrate who they are. I'm going to come back to that topic a little bit later. But the next wall that I like to look at is the reality of developmental stages. Families go through developmental stages, and who you were when you started out is not who you are now down the line. And as you develop, there are different needs that have to be met. And so to recognize that your goals need to be in alignment with those changes in those developmental stages. How you relate to your children when they were first born is very different to how you relate to them now. How you get to motivate them is different now to how you motivate them down the line. Some of the basic foundations may remain the same, but the way you engage with them has to change. We have to keep up with how our children are developing in their identity and their sense of purpose and just their sense of just being their own characters and their own individuals. So it's very important that developmental stages are something that you keep in mind so that you are setting goals that are relevant to the stage that you're in now. And so often with moms and sometimes dads, we tend to see our youngest born as our baby. And that is so frustrating for them because they don't see themselves as babies. So the way we relate to them, our expectations of them, we have to be aware all the time is, am I seeing you as this emerging person with his own thoughts and own interests and own talents and abilities? So to keep developmental stages in mind. And that ties in with everything being age appropriate. are our expectations realistic to who and what they are right now? And then another wall that I like to have as part of the house is, am I empowering my children to develop into healthy, functional adults that are able to solve problems, that are able to navigate challenging emotional situations? And am I teaching them that they actually are competent in who they are? That if they are confronted with a challenging situation, yes, they can come to me and they can navigate that with me. But do I believe in them to problem solve for levels that are appropriate to their stage of development and their age? So those are the walls that I like to have as goal setting. And then the last thing, which is the roof of the house, is, are we able to work together as a family? Because goals are not something that we achieve on our own. Sometimes they are, but a lot of the time, it's actually about working together as a family unit. And it's recognizing what my strengths are versus what my husband's strengths are, or versus what my children's strengths are. And so we start to develop a sense of teamwork. And what I always say to families is that work is about establishing a sense of working with different personalities and different characters. And if we can train our children now as emerging adults how to work together with people that are different to them and think differently to them, how much more equipped they will be down the line. So I hope that this little picture of building a house, starting with your foundation of connection, the different walls of building identity and purpose, knowing the different developmental stages, are my goals age appropriate, and are my expectations realistic? Am I empowering my children in all that we navigate in life to be confident in their abilities, in their perceptions on how they see things, that they can always come and speak to me about anything? But am I actually, at the end of the day, my short-term goals, are they building towards a goal of having a healthy, functional adult that believes in their ability to problem solve, and they have learned how to work together as a unit? So I hope that was helpful, and yeah, have an amazing weekend. Good morning.
That was so wonderful from Lynn. Thanks, everyone. So please remember that you can book with any one of these different specialists on Connectable Life. Contact us if you have any further questions, but we've got one more specialist that we are going to listen to now. This is from Shan. She is a holistic health coach.
I'm Shan. I am a holistic health coach, and I have recently graduated from the Institute of Integrative Nutrition. I have been asked to speak to you about creating and maintaining healthy eating goals. I'm very sad that I couldn't be there with you today, but I hope that you find this voice note informative, and if you would like to, please feel free to reach out if you have any other questions. As a health coach, a huge part of my practice is to work with people on achieving their goals. We do this by focusing in on areas that may feel out of balance and then setting goals to focus on these areas. We work on setting activities that are the steps in achieving these goals. Often we confuse the activities with the goals and never really address the why behind these goals. For example, if your goal is to go to the gym at least 3 times a week, you need to ask yourself why you want to do that. So write it down and say, why do I want to go to the gym? Maybe it's because you want to feel more confident in your own body, or you want to use it as a stress reliever. The why is often more important. Instead of making the goal to go to the gym, make it that you want to feel more confident. And then going to the gym becomes one action step in achieving this goal. Another action step could be to practice self-love and self-care, or to meditate and to eat healthier. These will all contribute to being more confident in your own skin. In this way, if you don't go to the gym 3 times a week, you're not going to beat yourself up about it. The same thing goes for creating healthy eating goals. Healthy eating goals seem to be something that we do at the beginning of every year. We often restrict ourselves from a certain food group, be it no sugar this year or no carbs this year, or this year is going to be my year to turn into a bikini model. And again, we forget to focus on the why behind these goals. So when you are setting your healthy eating goals for 2021, I urge you to think about why you want to cut out sugar. Maybe it's to help with weight loss. And maybe the why behind the weight loss is to feel more comfortable in your own skin. When it comes to creating goals around food, I find that more often than not, it is a very restrictive goal and something that you don't allow yourself to do. I personally don't believe in restrictive goals. Often they create a very unhealthy, obsessive relationship around food, or it can turn into a spiral of failed diets. As a health coach, I don't believe in diets, as I believe that what works for someone might not work for another. What I would encourage would be to set realistic goals that revolve around positives rather than the restrictions. Not less of something bad, but rather more of something good. For example, instead of saying, this year I'm going to completely cut out on all carbs, rather say, this year I'm going to try and eat more fruits and vegetables, and maybe even as a challenge, try a new vegetable every month or every week. I feel that this pushes a more positive outlook on food. Naturally, if you want to try and include more vegetables in your diet, you will probably choose the salad at lunch instead of the sandwich because you want to include more vegetables. And if you do choose the sandwich, you won't feel the huge sense of guilt for eating it because you're not forbidden to do so. This is a concept I call crowding out. So basically, by choosing the salad, you are incorporating more vegetables and, without you knowing, having less carbs. Another great example of this is instead of saying that you're going to cut down your coffee consumption from 5 cups a day to 3 cups, rather say, this year I'm going to try and drink more water every day. By drinking more water, you'll feel more energized and less likely to reach for the coffee mug. Crowding out is an amazing concept, and I really encourage goals that would enforce this idea. Another great goal around foods is to try to eat more whole foods, foods that you can immediately identify where they've come from. Foods that have been grown or raised and not produced in a factory. Again, more whole foods naturally equals less processed foods. Setting goals is an incredible way to keep yourself accountable, but I would really recommend thinking about these. Write them down, think about the why, and then come back in a few days and check in with yourself. Do these goals still serve you, or are they actually just unrealistic? Once you have decided on your goals, then you can write down a few action steps. I'm going to give you a few small action steps that you can take towards creating healthy eating habits. These are not goals, but the action steps, so please bear that in mind. Number 1, carry a water bottle with you. If it's on you, the more likely it is that you will drink it. Our bodies are made up of 60% water. So it seems only natural that this is one of the most important steps to health. Try to drink around 2 liters of water a day. That's about 2.5 750 mils of bottled water. If you carry your water bottle around with you all day, you can keep track of this. Number 2, start with vegetables. Fill your plate with your veggies first when you are dishing up. This way you are getting in as many veggies as you can. A fun thing to do is to try a new veggie every time you go to the grocery store. Who knows, you might find your new favorite veggie. And try to eat as many colors as you can in one day. Natural colors, not processed colors. Blueberries are also known as God's candy, and they are so delicious and full of antioxidants, and they add color to your day. How cool would it be if you could eat something red, blue, green, purple, orange, and yellow every single day? I'm sure you've all heard of the saying, eat the rainbow. Number 3, take time to sit down and appreciate your meals. If you can learn to appreciate the food in front of you and acknowledge its ability to fuel your life, you are sure to make better food choices. You can literally see the vibrance and energy in a fresh salad compared to a sloppy fast food meal. Sitting down for meals also supports mindfulness and has been shown to support digestion. Eating healthy doesn't have to mean restriction. It's about incorporating vibrant food from the earth, full of energy to fuel your body. How cool is that? Challenge yourself to try these crowding out techniques and to create actionable steps to healthy eating goals.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Thank you so much, everyone. So that concludes all our speakers. Now we are going to have our Q&A section. So if you have any questions, please unmute your microphone and you're welcome to ask questions now. We have run over time a little bit, so I'm not going to wait around too long. I'm guessing that we've pretty much covered all the points. Anyone wanting to ask a question?
Hey, Stacey.
Hi there.
You're speaking to Lungelo here.
Hi, Lungelo.
Yeah. So actually, we run a business that supports students throughout their university experience.
Lovely.
So obviously, like the goal setting thing is quite important. And I think a consistent theme throughout all the speakers has been this idea of having a why. I think then the problem that we see is, and also personally, it's how do you go about actually deriving that why? What steps can one take to also ensure that the why that they're developing isn't a toxic why?
Yeah, that's a really important question. Would any of our specialists like to give that one a shot?
Sure.
Yes, Rato, thank you.
Sure, it's Paula. I'm happy to...
Oh, sorry, Paula. Then we have two putting up their hand, that's why.
Oh, okay. Lorata, go for it. Go, Lorata.
All right. Thanks, Paula. Hi, Lungelo. Kumai Dunjan. Hello? Hi, Lungelo.
Good on yourself, Lerato?
I'm good, thank you very much. Nice to meet you. Thank you. So I think the important thing in establishing the why is looking at your values. So why would you want to do something? Like, for example, eating. Why would I eat? Because I'm hungry. So I think when you're working in a group, especially you said university, so let's just look at a subject. If you're going to be studying drama or arts or something, you look at, why am I doing this? Because I really enjoy people's attention. I like people looking at me and I like to make a difference or to tell a story. So that would be a why. And then your why to continue would be, is this entertaining me? Is this something that could help me financially? Is this something that I do have time for? So I think your whys should start with your values. What do I like? What works for me? And then the next step would look at your real life. Can I do this? Is it possible? And so on and so on. Is that clear or?
I think it's a very good point. This idea of values, I think, really does help. And then also, I suppose within that, thinking about the things that you actually enjoy, sort of reflecting on who you are as a person, I suppose. Yeah, I think that's very good. Thanks, Lerato. I think that really helps.
All right, it's my absolute pleasure. Thank you.
Thanks, Lerato. Paula, would you like to add to that at all?
Sure. I think, adding to what Lerato said, because values are very important. Values underpin our thoughts and our actions and our behavior. But if you want to look, when it comes to sustaining or keeping the momentum going and the motivation and the inspiration, it's also looking at that goal and going, if I achieve this goal, how will it make me feel? What will it do for me? What will I get? And often it's not the actual goal itself, it's what the goal is going to give you that we're actually aspiring to. So let's say, for example, we've been talking about weight goals and gym goals and that. if you want to lose weight, why do you want to lose weight? What is it going to do for you? It's going to make you feel better, healthier, more energetic, more lively. You can fit into those skinny jeans. You can be sporty, you can be active, whatever it is. So sit down with that goal and go, if I achieve this goal, what will it do for me? What will it give me? How will it make me feel? And look at those things as part of your why together with your values, because that's where your inner drive and inner motivation will come from and contribute to achieving that goal.
Amazing. Thanks so much, Paula. So somebody else put up the, oh, there we go. Please, can you introduce yourself and ask the question?
I think Kirsten put her hand up, possibly in response to the question.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Sorry, Kirsten.
Hi, sorry. I just wanted to add to that that question from Lungelo. It's just a practical action step to finding your why. And what I find with a lot of people that I consult is this inability to kind of be in the present moment. And I know that that sounds really cliched, but a lot of the time people look at their goals as a place to get to rather than a place to start from. And so what becomes really important in finding your why is the ability to stop projecting into your future just for enough time to be able to assess where you're at. So the ability to stop the rat race and the cogs turning in your mind for enough time to drop into what it is you're really experiencing in this moment, so you can connect with yourself on a deeper level so that you can find your why. Because finding your why is very much related to finding your you, if that makes sense. So I hope that helps with just like a practical step would maybe be to just find some quiet time to just stop the noise that's rushing in your head, to let go of all the outcomes and the ideas and the goals and the expectations and the achievables and all of that stuff for just enough time to hear yourself with where you're at. And then you start working towards them.
Kirsten,
Awesome. Thanks, Kirsten.
Sorry, Jess.
Sorry, I'm busy talking and my speakerphone is off. Sorry, Paula.
No, I was just saying, while Kirsten was online, I see there's a question for her in the chat, which is, can you please repeat the 4 questions you ask yourself every day?
Oh, yes, sure. Okay, so the morning, there's 2 questions. The first one is, where do I need to focus my energy today? So that could be anything from, I need to focus my energy on completing a specific task, or I need to focus my energy on finding more stillness, or anything like that. Then the second thing is, what can I positively affirm over my life? So for instance, if what you need to achieve, if where you need to focus your energy is achieving a certain task, then you can positively affirm, I am focused, I pay attention to detail, and I am motivated, I take one step at a time, just something that can help you in that positively affirming that action that you need to do for the day. And then the evening, it's how am I feeling? So whether it's I'm feeling agitated, or I'm feeling joyful, or I'm feeling upset or alone, or whatever it is. And then the second question is, what do I need? So for instance, if you're feeling lonely, maybe you need to reach out to someone you care about. Or if you're feeling angry, maybe you need to express yourself to the person you're angry at. So yeah, hope that helps.
Amazing. Thank you. That's really beneficial. There was somebody else who wanted to ask a question earlier. I think it's Abdi Kadir. Did you want to ask a question? You need to take your microphone off, please. No. Okay. Just going through the questions and answers here.
Please.
Oh, there we go. Thank you so much.
Good morning, all of you. Thank you so much for the input and contributions. I think I'm joining this activity all the way from Somalia, so I think that makes me a bit unique and different.
Wonderful. Thank you.
I've got a question for since it's about career development. This question goes to Lerato. It's about setting goals. So I have a bit of anxiety, and that's all about when I'm surrounded by an environment or a senior who's not very much comfortable with my career advancement. So in such cases, when you are surrounded by unfriendly environment, how do you bypass that? How do you manage when your colleague or your seniors feel that you are displacing them, or you are taking their positions or whatsoever? That embeds our goal setting and our visions. So in such cases, how do you confront them? That's my question. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much, Ishmael. It's nice to meet you, and it's my pleasure to answer your question. So I am a person who believes in very open communication. So I think the first and most important thing is to maybe try to talk to the people that you feel have differences, because sometimes we assume that people feel a certain way, and that might not be the case. Maybe they would like to learn from you. Maybe there's something that you're doing really well that they would like to gain, but they don't know how to approach you. So I think the best thing is for you to try to talk to the person, maybe not during lunch. If you have a little bit of animosity, you probably don't want to take their lunch break. Maybe in the afternoon after work, and just try come about it with a friendly manner to show that you don't have a problem, and just address the situation. And if you feel like there isn't much change after you have spoken to the person or after you've tried to do something about it, I think the most important thing to do is to put your head down and try to move forward, because unfortunately in this world not everyone is going to like us. But if this situation is hindering your position in your company and hindering you from progressing, then I think the most important thing to do is to speak to a superior who's maybe in charge of the team, so that you can have a maybe team development, so that you can work together in a professional manner, so that at the end of the day, everything is sorted out. Has that answered your question, Ishmael?
Very much so, yeah. I really appreciate it. Thanks so much for your contribution.
Thank you very much for your question.
You're on mute.
Sorry. The mute button. Is there anyone else who would like to ask a question? No. Okay, so we're going to go to another exciting section, which is the prize giveaway that Jess is going to run with.
Awesome. Hi, everybody. Lovely to see you all. And again, gosh, a massive, massive thanks to our speakers. I know you all through the Connectable Life platform, so I did have high expectations of this morning because I know how amazing you all are. But I think those expectations were still just completely blown out the park. I've left, so much richer from the experience. So thank you all again so much. And I was writing little touch points as I was going through, and there were obviously a lot of things that I took from each individual speaker and topic. But I think the sort of overriding things that stood out for me generally across the board in terms of goal setting and maintaining goals is firstly just the power that goals hold. And it's this sort of term that's thrown around so loosely that sometimes the power in it is lost. And we have all these wishes, we all have dreams and hopes and wishes, and until we actually do something about that, that's where it's going to remain. And let's say, for example, it's our wish to earn more money, or our goal to go to Greece. What if we did something as simple as change the word wish and dream to goal and said, it's my goal to earn more money, it's my goal to go to Greece, suddenly that statement has so much power and it becomes actionable, and it's something that we can now put steps in place to actually achieve, whereas it would have remained in the wish and dream box if we didn't just replace that word with this power of goals. So yeah, thank you so much for just reinforcing that throughout the speakers. And then something else that stood out to me is, you know, for a lot of people, goals often means change. And for many humans, it's an innate fear to fear change. Yes, change excites a lot of people, but for the most part, it's a scary thing to do, to have to now change what you're doing or how you're doing it, and it can seem very overwhelming. But the sort of message that was sent across this morning is that it doesn't have to be scary and it doesn't have to be overwhelming, because these changes need to be small and in small stages and small steps until we eventually reach the bigger goal, the bigger picture. And if we do it that way, then the change isn't so big and the change isn't so scary, and the change will be more sustainable. So that's really, really great. And then the next thing I was going to touch on is what Lungelo brought up in this why. Everybody spoke about the why, and it's such an important thing. And I think what's rooted there is self-reflection and self-assessment. We don't take self-reflection and self-assessment seriously enough. And that's maybe where we need the guidance, be it in the form of a coach, a counselor, a friend, a team member, whoever it may be, that we can find that counsel and coaching in, to find that why, to really figure out who we are and what we want out of this life. Otherwise, we just really coaxing through. And then another thing that stood out to me was the fact that we need a support system. It's not, we need love, belonging, encouragement. It's one of our basic tools we need in order to survive and thrive. And so once we have these goals, like it was mentioned, I think by Kirsten, it's so important to make these goals known to those that are close to us, so that we can have the support and guidance of them in order to achieve them. So really, so much to walk away with, and thank you all again so much. Gosh, I really wish I was in the running for a consultation with one of you. So I have already popped all the names into my random generator. So I'm just going to shuffle the names, and I'm now letting it do its little spin. If you can just bear with me while it does it.
Exciting to see who the prize winner is. And you can have your pick of...
I hope they're still online. Jackie. Is Jackie with us?
Oh, shame she's just left.
I know.
But very exciting.
Okay, well, we'll let Jackie know that she is the winner. So sorry to the rest of you. I know that we all, can gather so much from a session with each and every one of them, but it doesn't stop you from hopping onto the website. Stace, I'll hand over to you.
Thank you so much. Thank you to all our speakers. Thank you to everybody who attended today. It was absolutely incredible. I, for one, have received so much action-packed information. I know I keep saying that, but that is the truth. I'm definitely going to go back and rewatch it and take pointers and learn even more. Please feel free to contact us. Feel free to book a consultation with one of the specialists. Everybody is here to just connect and be available. So we hope that you have a wonderful week, and we will be putting this recording up onto YouTube, and I will email it to everybody in the week. So have a great rest of your weekend, and thank you so much for attending.
Thanks so much, everybody.
Thanks very much.
Bye.
Have a great weekend.